What's going on, guys? Chris Albert here with the Warrior Soul podcast, and I've been utilizing this platform here on YouTube to flesh out some ideas, to put out some short videos every day about what I'm thinking about. And I wanted to talk to you today about life. But first, before I do that, if you haven't been in touch with the Warrior Soul podcast before, the reason why I do this podcast is to empower U.S. military veterans to live their best lives, to get them thinking about living their best lives. And I do that by delivering tools, tactics, strategies, and ideas to help them to become stronger, smarter, and more resilient so that they can be better human beings who are going to go out and dominate civilian life. And if you're not a veteran, stick around, because obviously anything I'm going to talk about can apply to you as well, because I'm talking about life. I'm talking about our existence. I'm talking about becoming better, right? And, I publish a lot here on this channel, but please also head over to iTunes and subscribe to the Warrior Soul podcast. And if you like the episodes, please write us a written rating and review. It really helps to get this information to the hands of more veterans. So like I said, today I want to talk to you about life, about the shortness of life. And let me explain this to you. We live in amazing times, right? We live in amazing times. There has never been a group of human beings in the history of Earth who've had it as easy as we do right now. Life is actually really good. We don't have world wars going on. At least in the Western world, we are advancing all the time. We're advancing every day. That's not to say that there's not any bad things going on in the world, because there always are. But those of you who are watching this, you probably live a really good life compared to most of the other human beings who have existed throughout history, right? Those of us, even those of us who might be considered poor, we have more resources and better lives than even members of royalty from medieval times and before, right? So in thinking about that, because our lives are so good, we also have a greater degree of freedom. We have more freedom than individual human beings have had since civilization, right? We get to choose the media we consume. We get to choose what we spend our time on in our free time, right? We even to some degree get to choose our professions. Like, yes, some people fall into careers, but at some point in your life, you chose the path that you went down. You had to apply for your job, which meant you chose to do that job, right? The degree of choice that we have is remarkable compared to how it was throughout history. So what am I saying here? Well, with freedom, there's also a lot of responsibility there, right? There's also a lot of responsibility. And what does that responsibility revolve around? Well, it revolves around the one thing that we haven't been able to get around. The one thing that's still true now that was true thousands of years ago. And that's the fact that, well, we're all going to die. We might die later than has been in the past, right? Even 150 years ago, at 40 years old, I might be considered an old man, right? A lot of men died before they ever got to my age, right? But today we're living to 70, 80, 100 years old. We might extend our lives to be, like 110, 120 average age, but still that time that we have is finite. And so what I'm getting at is that because we have the freedom to spend our time how we want, but we also have this hard stop, this hard limitation on the amount of time we have, well, we still need to be very protective of that time. And I think that far too many people live their lives as if they've got all the time in the world, as if they're going to live forever. And this isn't a new concept. This is something the Stoic philosophers have been talking about for thousands of years. Thinkers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, they all spoke about the shortness of life and the importance of meditating on your death. And I think that one of the things that we need to do every day is really think about the fact that someday we're going to die. That day might be tomorrow, it might be 50 years from now, but regardless, it's going to happen. So a lot of things we worry about, the fears we have of if we try to go after that dream we have, but we might fail, and you feel fear we have a failure, well, that's not a really well-founded fear, because at the end of the day, it's not going to matter, right? 100 years from now, we're all going to be dead, right? Over the grand scheme of time, we're all just going to be particles dissipating throughout the universe, right? At some point, this planet might be very different than what it is now. So that fear we have of failure, that really doesn't matter, right? You can't hold yourself back from pursuing what you want to pursue. And the other thing that this line of thinking gets to bring us to is the fact that, well, if we do fail, what does that mean? Well, what it means is that we tried and we learned something, right? If you go out there and you try at something and you fall flat on your face, well, guess what? You learned something about it. You learned what not to do. But if you didn't do anything at all, if you waited or you just thought about it and didn't take any action, well, at that point, guess what happened? You didn't learn anything. You kept it on your mind. It was another thing for you to worry about and another thing to waste your time on. Think about how we spend our time on a daily basis. You know, we've got this amazing thing called social media that allows us to connect, and I can't complain about it because it's allowing me to talk to all of you right now. But at the same time, how are we utilizing it? Are we utilizing it as a method for spreading good ideas, a method for communicating with loved ones? Or are we using it as a method to spread fear and waste time? All of us are human, right? Even I waste a lot of time, and I'm not saying that you should feel bad about yourself if you find yourself cruising your social media feed. I'm not saying that you should feel bad about yourself if you find that you're hesitant to do something, right? We should all plan. We should all make sure that, you know, the decisions we're making are the correct decisions. But at the end of the day, if we allow these things to consume too much of our time, all we're doing is we're following ourselves, right? Because the joke's on us. At some point, no matter what, all of this is going to stop. It's not a grim thing. It's not a morbid thing. It's a liberating thing. It means that you have no reason to hesitate and you have no reason to waste time. No matter who you are, no matter how rich you are, no matter how poor you are, no matter where you're living on this earth. Take advantage of the time you have. Make everything that you can out of it. Make every second count. And that's about all I got for today. So with that, guys, I want to thank you for listening. I hope these ideas make sense. I hope these ideas are resonating with you. Like I said on the podcast, I flesh things out a little bit more. A lot of times I'm utilizing this just to see what the feedback is about an idea. And I hope you guys let me know what you think. So with that, guys, thank you so much for listening. I'll be back at you soon with another video and more episodes of the Warrior Soul Podcast.